Hi guys, we're Aklo Mar'a, and today we have a special guest coming in to talk about the African Food Festival that's taking place at the end of November.
Yes. My name is Timothy Olatok, and I'm part of the organizers of the African Food Festival, which is scheduled to be taking place at Dubai Creek Park on the 29th of November this year.
Okay, can you tell us a bit about who you are, how you got into this, what made you want to start doing something like this, like the African Food Festival?
So, uh, I, as a person, have been in Dubai for over 5 years now, getting to about 6 years, and I've been to different events in the past. And it happened that during one of the meetings, consultation meetings that my company was doing for an events company, turns out to be uh, people discussed about doing an African food festival, which was truly African. And during that consultation, we realized that most of the African events that have been hosted in Dubai are usually centered around either it's South African, East African, West African, or North African. And we said definitely we needed to do something different that would bring all of Africa together in one place. And the idea came about of the food festival because that looked like some great denominator that would bring all aspects of cultures together to be able to do something really unique and make everyone want to attend.
Was it like your idea, or was it a group effort?
It wasn't my idea. It was the idea of one of the ladies that was in the room. Her name is Terger, and she was the one that said, "Look, guys, yes, we're talking about fashion, we're talking about art, we're talking about different things, but she really believes that at the end of the day, it's the food that would bring everyone together, and we all bought into the idea that definitely the food festival was the right way to go."
So, where is this African Food Festival taking place?
Okay, so last year we did it at the Creek Park in Dubai near the healthcare city, and we're doing it again there this year. And there were strategic reasons why we've used the Creek Park. One, it's a very large park which has hosted several events, including Dubai Cares. It has the capability to take loads of crowd, and I think the record they've had there was over 35,000. The park is very, very large. They've got amenities, they've got playground for kids, they've got everything that you would ever want to imagine to have in a large park. And the fact that they have their crowd control in place as well, we definitely looked at all these points and very close to the metro and the bus stations. That made it the ideal location for any park events or outdoor events anyone wants to do that would attract lots of crowd.
How many years has Food Festival been going on for?
Okay, so this is going to be the second year.
This is the second year. So
Yeah.
last year was the first year.
Last year was a trial
How
run.
was it last year?
Last year was quite challenging because there were a lot of unknowns that we weren't aware of. We went through the challenges. It was quite successful, being the first event that we're doing outdoor. By the way, the event is free to the public. You only pay your 5 dirham access park fee to get into the park, which is the municipality. We are not charging the crowd to come in to watch the event, and this was a strategic decision that was made by the committee board because we want to introduce Africa to Africans and also to the world, and charging people to come into a park, it's something that we think is going to be a deterrent as opposed to attracting people and bringing people to the event ground.
Well, if you're not getting any money from people going to the event, how do you get sponsors? How do you get people involved in something like this?
So this project is more or less like a CSR project. What we do is we bring in businesses that support that particular demographics, either from the money exchange service or the cargo service, or even to the shoppers or a traveling industry. We bring them all to sponsor this event as part of their giving back to the community because this is the particular demographics that they are benefiting off from or they are providing services to. So that way, that seems to work for us, and also get the restaurants getting notoriety, because if they turn up for the event and they're actually there for the event, a lot of people tend to now know, oh, there was this Ethiopian restaurant that was at the African Food Festival. I had a meal. I don't know what the name is. I've got a voucher. I would like to go back there. So it's a way of creating broad awareness for these small to medium-sized businesses, and also a way to build a brand following, not just sales on that day, but also creating an awareness to the marketplace that, hey guys, I exist here, and not just to non-Africans. We're also focusing on Africans, because Africa in itself has over 54 countries, and there's so many cultures and so many languages and so many variety of food out there that we're promoting. And we're not just promoting food. During the event last year, we had a fashion show, we had arts and crafts, we had art vendors, we had live performances, drummers. We're trying to make it all cultural, because not just for people to turn up and come and eat different type of food, but also to learn more about the culture of Africa, of the different parts of Africa. We had, most especially, one of the greatest success we had last year, we had about 12 embassies / consulates that were there at the event. And it was an opportunity for people to actually see the different countries, because they had their own stands and their own flyers and banners talking about different things about their individual countries, and showcasing the diversity around Africa. So it was an eye-opener to quite a lot of non-Africans and even Africans that were there on that day. So we're looking forward to
So
a
because
bigger.
it's a very big group of people, and as you said, you had embassies and sponsors there at the event, how long does it take to plan something like this? On the day, before the day, how is that process like?
So that's a very interesting one. Last year, we got the concept in last week of August. So that just gave us September and October to prepare. And in reality, we only started preparing in October, which was a serious challenge for us, because there were a lot of unknowns, as I said. The restaurants coming on board had to have all sorts of licenses and food permits, health and safety, because this is going to be, an outdoor event where they'll be cooking, and the authorities wanted to make sure that whatever food that was being cooked was up to standard, and people were not going to have food poisoning or any of that. So we had quite a long list of restaurants that wanted to come in October, but by the time we had like a week to the event, we basically had only about 3 or 4 restaurants that had passed through their food licensing process. In the end, we ended up with about 12 restaurants, which was a serious chore, because we had to push everything that we had. This time around, we're not doing that. This year, we took on the lessons that we learned from last year, and in January, the committee board sat down, and we laid down a critical part of everything we wanted to do. And by the end of January, we had selected the dates that we wanted, which was the 29th of November, which is a Friday, by the way, because the first one with the pack does not give Fridays out for private events. They only give Saturdays or Thursdays. So this time around, we put a lot of pressure on them to and appealed several times for them to give us a Friday, because that Friday, that's going to be the beginning of a long weekend, and because we have the Union Day and the Union Day and Martyrs Day coming up afterwards, so it's going to be like a 4-day, 5-day weekend. So we chose that day, and we finally got approval sometime in March for that date. And that's when we moved on to DTMC to get the necessary approvals for the events. And basically, this year is basically taking us about 10 months to prepare for this event. And we want to make sure it's a lot better from what we had last year, because from the experiences we had last year, we know where we could have improved things a lot better. And we're trying to make sure we do that.
Yeah. So last year, what was your favorite restaurant or stand, or specific food that you enjoyed the most?
something that you were very excited to bring again this year?
Or something new that you just discovered, like.
Oh, okay. So last year, I would say the injari from the Ethiopian restaurant called Zago was a very nice one. That was quite fascinating. I'd never tasted anything that good. However, going with my own natural taste buds, one of the things I really liked was we had food eating competition during the event. I wasn't part of the competition because obviously I was one of the organizers, but I had the chance to taste some of the food that was going out. So there was these pepper chicken wings,
Oh wow.
and they had different categories of the spices, and there was a particular spice that was called. Can I call the name? Mad Dog.
Mad Dog.
Yeah, Mad Dog 365 or something, or
Oh, I
Silver
know that
Bullet.
one, yeah.
And it was extremely hot, and it was, and was quite fascinating to see the guys that were actually eating the food on the stage for the competition and all sorts of reactions.
Yeah.
There was a lady that ate a bite and she was doing squats and jumping everywhere. It was kind of funny, well, to us watching.
Yeah.
They had a prize to win. Hey, well, they believed that they could eat.
Yeah, we did something
Well-
quite similar
Yeah.
last week. We did a spicy challenge, so we know how people's reactions
So-
get when they eat something too hot or something.
So it was
How
quite
many did you eat
interesting.
from them?
No, I just had only one, and that was enough for me for the day, I believe.
Yeah.
So and during the event, we had quite a number of competitions. So we had the dance competition, we had the pepper challenge, we had the watermelon challenge as well.
What's the watermelon challenge?
Basically, you just have slices of watermelon, and I think they had groups of 4, something like that, and then there were the first person to finish their watermelon goes on to the next level.
Yeah.
So you have the
Is it just a
big one.
slice?
So yeah, just a big slice.
Okay.
It's quite big.
And what was the peppers challenge?
The pepper challenge was, I think you had 4 chicken wings or 6 chicken wings, and they were extremely hot. And from one level to the other, the spices started going up. So it was,
It's hard, right?
yeah.
How many people do you get in these competitions?
So last year we had close to about 65 people that registered for the event for the Pepper Cup.
Wow.
How many actually went through the entire process? I'm not sure. It might have been even more because I was doing other things as well
Yeah.
during the event.
So
So
you can pre-register for it, and you can also register there.
yes, last year I think registration started 1st of November for the challenge. This year I don't have the date yet of when that would open, but I know there are quite a number of campaigns that have been planned for us to roll out. Social media this time around is a tool that I would like to use to get the word out to people, so people understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. It's not out of profit or anything, it's just to make people more aware of this platform.
Yeah, and if they can't register online, they can still join the competition when they get there on the day.
Of course, definitely.
And what type of prizes do you guys give last year?
If I remember correctly, there were iPads. No, not iPads. There were tablets. There were watches. Most of the gifts actually came from the sponsors.
Yeah.
So some of them were. There was TVs as well. There were plasma
Wow.
screens, and I think the person that won the paper competition won a plasma screen, if I remember correctly.
I mean, yeah, if you eat that many spicy foods, you deserve a
Like some
TV.
motivation for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but this year hopefully it's going to be bigger and a lot better than last year because we believe that we've put a lot more into this year's preparation than last year.
So let's talk about entertainment. Who's there? What do you guys do? Dances, performers, music, all that stuff.
Okay, so everything is still in the making. Last year the Ethiopian embassy brought a dance group
Cool.
to the event, which they told us that if they could bring them, we're like, yeah. And they actually stole the stage on that day. They stole they made everyone stand still and watch their performance. Having said that, this year a lot of our other embassies have indicated that they would like to bring in their own dance troupe as well. So now we're
Yeah.
having challenges of trying to manage the agenda of how we're going to put everyone on the agenda for the day. we're bringing back the Showtime drummers. They were quite good last year. They entertained the crowd. Even before they got on stage, they were going around from point to point because the park is very large. Teaching people how to drum, sitting on the grass, playing with the kids, drumming and all that, even while the other events was going on the stage. This year they are going to come back and they're going to repeat again what they did last year. Also, we would have the normal bouncy castle for the kids that will be on the side. We would have a few more entertainers. We are bringing, well, subject to sponsorship, major title sponsorship, we are meant to bring at least one or two AAA celebrity artists
Oh wow.
to make an appearance and sing one or two songs or something and appear on a panel to talk about different things and how we can enable the community. But again, most of that is still being discussed when it comes down to things like this. There's a lot of discussions that has to happen first before and signing of contracts before I can make it public. Yeah. So we're still working on that. And hopefully we should have something very soon.
It seems like it's very interactive, like there's a lot of stuff to do.
Oh yeah, and this year we're going to have live cooking stations as well, whereby we have two chefs that have already signed up. This is not going to be on the main stage. We have a live cooking station where they will actually be teaching people, oh, this is how to cook this is how to do that, and it's not going to run for the whole day. Probably each chef will probably do something for 30 minutes each, and that's going to be it. If we have more chefs come on board, then fine. So we would have that going on one side of the park. We also intend to have the fitness, want to call it fitness club or fitness arena, whereby we would have some. We've not made up our mind if it's going to be basketball hoops or football, where you have the goalpost and if you shoot and score whatever it is, you win a prize or something. And then we'll have I don't know if you've heard about it, the Afro Fitness, where you dance to Afro music and all that, like a form of workouts, like Zumba. So we're going to have something like that on one part of the field as well.
So it's like a high intensity workout.
Something like that, yeah. But it's very fun, you know. So what we're trying to do is create a day whereby families can come into the park for next to nothing. Say a family of 4, they come into the park for 20 dirhams or less. If the kids are over 5 years old, that's when they pay the 5 dirhams. But if it's less, then they can just come into the park. Whilst they're in the park, they can watch live cooking, they can buy little food, they can see arts and crafts, they can see the fashion show that will be happening. I believe one of the fashion providers this year, she's going to be doing a very interesting concept called Bride of Africa. And our idea, which was pitched by the time that was what she pitched to us, whereby she would have bridal dresses from different parts of Africa, from the South African culture, from the East African, North African, West African, whereby she will have these models walk out on the runway in different types of bridal gowns and stuff, which for us was kind of interesting, different from just coming out with different styles, but just something that actually shows a different side of the culture.
So it seems very interesting, like having a bridal fashion show in a park.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not something you see every day.
Exactly. We want to, at the end of the day, the long-term goal we actually have for the African Food Festival is this. We've intentionally made this event alcohol-free because we want everyone to come and anyone to come. We want it to be family-friendly. People can bring their kids, grandparents, everyone can come into the park, bring their mats, their chairs or whatever, because the park is going to be full. Take their spot, lie down, sit down, watch the entertainment, watch the music, eat some food, see some art, mix with some other people, make friends, something like that. And what we've been looking at is that 3, 4, 5 years from now, we would like to make this the Notting Hill Carnival of the Middle East, whereby everyone flies into Dubai, for this particular event, and we're looking to make it into 2 or 3 days over the next coming years. So it's going to be something huge that people know that, you know what, even if I don't have any money in my pocket to buy, because again, if you look at the demographics, people's spending habits are changing. People don't like going for paid events like it used to be. So something that is free now, so the money they would have spent at the gate, they'll use it to entertain themselves or buy food if they want to, if they like it. And if they don't like it, hey, they don't buy anything. So
You just had fun.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to bring out. And also create a platform to show a unified Africa, which is one of our key things that we're looking at. We're also going to be providing, we also agreed that during that day we'll be having on the stage time for talents, homegrown talents, new talents, people that have talents but they've never had a platform to sing or to dance or to do any of these things. They are not megastars yet, but we also want to use this platform for them to be able to showcase what they've got.
It's like uprising artists.
Correct.
Are all the artists like African? So like we're bringing awareness to that, or can they be artists from anywhere?
I'll be honest with you, right now we're open to everyone and anyone.
Okay.
But mostly we're focused on the African community because that's where we feel that they've been underprivileged in so many ways. So giving them just a simple platform that they can climb onto and do whatever that they do, if we feel, not we, if, and most of this, again, we're going to be having, as I said, social media competitions and, polls and the rest of it. So it's not just going to be 5 people sitting in a room making a decision. It's going to be, wow, this person made a post tagged African Food Festival, and they're already getting 5,000, 8,000 hits and likes, and people are like saying, you know what, we'd really like to see this guy at the African Food Festival. Then definitely that person has got a talent that, people would like to see. So it's based on popular demand at the end
So it's
of the
very
day.
focused on Africans because that's the whole event's about.
And you're using the people's voices to like choose what they want, so that they're more attracted into coming into the event.
Yes, absolutely correct there. But if you check on our IGs, not everyone on there that is African. We have a lot of non-Africans on there.
So it's focused on Africans, but it's not only Africans.
Exactly.
It's open to everyone to come enjoy it, but the main focus is to bring awareness to African communities and cultures
Yes, and African food.
and African food.
Yeah.
So let's
Brings
talk
us all
about
together.
let's talk about food. So what stands do you have that you can confirm that are going to be there? For example, what type of foods? Can you tell us something exclusive that we can?
Okay, so I'm thinking very hard now. I know we've spoken to quite a lot of them. I'm aware of the Kiza Pan-African restaurant. I've not got any confirmation if they're going to be there on the day, but I'm very aware that they are one of the sponsors for the event. It's a Pan-African restaurant based in DFIC, DIFC, sorry, at the Emirates Stars. I'm aware that there is another one called Africana Home. I think they've got about 5 or 6 branches all around the UAE. They're going to be there. I don't know if they signed up all the contract. I know they're going through the paperwork of getting all their permits. There is another one called Biggie. There is one called Sankofa, I believe. I think that's a Ghanaian restaurant. We have a South African one called City Grill in our Abdul Palace. I'm not sure. I don't know where the status of their application is. I know that they've showed their interest. I've attended 1 or 2 meetings, but haven't been involved in the restaurant side. Which other one? I know Nando's has also showed interest, and they're exchanging whatever it is with the guys in the back office dealing with the restaurants. Trying to remember, there is an Egyptian one on Sheikh Zayed Road. Mazaya, Had Abdul.
Hatuda Masria?
Yeah,
That one.
that one.
Yeah.
I know we've gotten in contact with them. I think we're speaking to one of the owners of the place. I don't know how far that discussion has gone. I'm yet to follow that up. I probably will be seeing the reports later on this week of how many have actually completed, because to sign up is one thing.
And for the process and all the
Yeah.
paperwork is something else.
Exactly.
And actually showing up and all the preparation.
And because this particular venue we're using is an allowed ground, so there are certain conditions that has to be met by the restaurants, and there is a certain inspection that has to happen in the restaurant to make sure that everything they're using within the restaurants is all allowed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not something easy. It's
Exactly.
effort.
So
And on the day, do they make the food like on a grill or something there, like in front of people, or is it like a tent where they cook inside?
okay, so I'll go by what happened last year. Last year we had some food trucks, which we'll also have some food trucks this year. I think we've confirmed 2 or 3 food trucks. I don't know the name right now, but I've seen some of the artworks and things come through. So we're going to have food trucks. Of course, in the food truck, they cook in the food in the truck, and then they sell the food. We have some of the restaurants that have their live grills, and you would actually see, they have a tent where they put their what's it called, show glass, where they've cooked whatever, and where you make the payments and the rest of it. And then they have the grill right behind or in front of their tent, where you have their chefs blowing off all the chicken and everything else. So it's most restaurants actually would cook on site. Some of them may have made some pre-cooked meals. I'm not sure. But last year, from what I could recollect, all the restaurants that we had there by 4:30 in the afternoon, they were all sold out.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And like, what type of food is there? Like, for people who don't know African foods,
Okay.
like, can you describe it in a way that they can understand it? Because most people I know haven't actually had African food.
Okay. So for me, I can, to the best of my knowledge, because I would be honest with you, there are certain dishes that I've never seen before or I've never tasted, but I've heard about it. So I myself am getting introduced to Africa. But there are certain common dishes that everyone would know. So there's the roast beef, which is beef well grilled. It's how would I want to say it? It's like a steak, but it's not a steak. It's sliced, and it's spiced up. It's quite good. I really love that personally. That's just my own personal preference. There are loads of chicken, different types of chicken cooking. There's the one that, there's the grilled one, there's the cooked one, there's jerk chicken. That's like the Jamaican chicken where they put a lot of spices into it, put pineapples and all that.
Wow.
So then
Yeah,
there's the rice as well. So we have the jollof rice. I don't know if you've seen that.
Jollof fries?
Yeah.
What is
So jollof rice is like I know I'll be crucified for saying this. It's like the Chinese fried rice or the Indian
Yellow rice?
like the yellow rice.
Oh, it's called.
And biryani, like the chicken biryani. So the jollof rice is something like that, but it's a lot better. And you have different types of jollof rice. You have the ones with the vegetables in there, mixed veg, chicken bits, diced turkey. You have all sorts of things in there. And it could be very spicy and it could be very mild, but it's something that personally I feel should have been out there in the world. Like you go anywhere and ask for a chicken biryani, or you ask for Shenzhen chicken fried rice, you should be able to have jollof rice. That's one big hit I know, definitely.
It sounds a lot like paella in Spain.
Yes,
it sounds
correct.
a lot like that because they have all these spices and like bits
Absolutely
of meat
correct.
and fish.
Cool.
Absolutely correct.
Very cool.
And the jollof rice, there are like 4 or 5 different main countries that have their different ways of how they cook it. Another one is the Moroccan tangerine, and which is quite good as well. One of the things that we're doing, not to take it off topic, one of the things that we're doing this year, we'll be releasing something that we call the African Food Festival Passport. And
yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the passport for?
Okay, so from the what would I call it now? From the lessons of things that we observed last year, one of the things that we went back into our strategy room was how could we make this better? How could we make this event? How can we push out our information without repeating ourselves several times. How can we bring more footfall to our vendors, to our sponsors? How can we make Africa more unified and people get to see the information in one place? So we had all sorts of ideas, making a map for that day, showing different arts and things like that. But one thing came back, which was, what do you hold most dear to you? What booklet do you hold most dear to you? Is your passport. Everyone has got one. In order for you to travel, you need your passport. So we said, okay, why don't we make a passport? And on the passport, what do we do on the passport? This is just a sample of the passport.
Okay, so if you guys
Yeah.
want to see what the passport looks like, we'll put a picture of it up on our Instagram. You can see it now. And you can just log into our Instagram, Aklo Mar'a, and you can see what the passport looks like.
Okay, so what the passport is all about is simple. It talks about Africa, it talks about different sides of Africa, and then it has a page where it can be personalized, and some celebrities want theirs personalized. And very quickly, it talks about the 32 African countries that we have in the UAE with their telephone numbers and email addresses. So for people that want to adventure, to travel, to go on an adventure to Africa or check out certain places, we have the telephone numbers and the email addresses of the consulars or the embassies. So on this page, you have embassies in Abu Dhabi, and on this page, we have consulars in Dubai. So if you go on to the next page, it shows highlights from last year. And then, most important for us, we start talking about favorite popular African dishes or favorite African dishes.
Just get people hungry and interested.
Yep. So they see the
And
different
these are
types
the
of
restaurants that sponsor.
yeah.
Okay.
And then you see, from different parts of Africa, north, south, east, west, and all the rest of it, with the restaurants where you can get them. And then we start going to the commercials where you get vouchers to go to certain restaurants, for certain brunches, buy one, get one free. One of the key things, and also arts and craft people, one of the reasons why we've come up with this idea is we don't want the event to be a one-day event for people. We don't want people to just come for the event and next week they've forgotten everything that they've seen. One of the things that we want to do is people have these passports. It's going to be available at least 2 or 3 weeks before the event. You can sign up for it online and you have to register for it online. You'll be sent a code. I believe that's the last I was told. And that code, you take it to any of the vending points, which could be UAE Exchange in Dubai Mall or at most of the restaurants that are going to be here, Kiza, Iparama, and some embassies would actually have the passport. But you need to register first and say where you would like to pick it up. Then the system will send the person or the individual a code which you take to that point, and then they'll allocate you a passport. It's just a way of us managing and smart distributing the passports. There will be 10,000 of them that will be printed, so people can pick it up and start using it. So you can start getting yourself familiar with the food, the culture, everything about Africa, even before the date. And you don't need a passport to come to the events. It's just a souvenir for you to know more about Africa, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so for you guys to get the passport, the website is africanfoodfestival.me, and you can register and get your passport. So there's only 10,000, so go register for it now before the event. Yeah. Okay.
And you can't pick it up on the. It has to be. You have to register for this.
You have to register for it, and say you can check for the nearest location around you of where it's being distributed, and you just simply walk up there and say, "Here's my email. I need my passport."
It can be registered. You can register for it now.
Yeah, you can. There's pre-registration. I think, if I remember correctly, the last count was over about 250 people have registered, and the registration opened up in September. Yeah, we're in October. Yeah. So.
Okay. So the event is taking place on November 29th at Creek Park
Yes.
in Dubai.
Correct.
So we hope to see a bunch of you guys there. And thank you again.
The event will be starting 11 a.m. The gates will be opening
Okay.
on Friday at Creek Park, and we'll have a loaded agenda, back-to-back package for those that will want to be there. I'm sure there'll be a lot of competitions, raffle draws, and all that. And the event is expected to last till late, till about 8, 9 in the evening. Last year the event went on till about 11.
Wow,
So-
that's an all-day event.
Yeah, it's a whole-day event.
Okay, well, thank you
Thank
for
you so
coming in, and you can follow them on Instagram, African Food Festival UAE.
Yep.
And you can go on their website, africanfoodfestival.me, and we'll share all our links on our social media, which is Aklo Mar'a on Instagram, and aklomar'a.com is our website. That's it. Thank you for coming in.
so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.